Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed. We're focusing on security, the challenge of it in the country. We've got Mr. Dennis Amachree here with us, formerly with the SSS. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, this is a matter that many have said, look, we've consistently cried out about what we need to do, about how security is a challenge and how we need to address it headlong. But this particular matter now, do you think that this is going to change the way we look at security issues, the rhetorics coming from political leaders notwithstanding?
Well, I think we've heard this before, and we are not facing the security problem headlong. And I think we should do it now. Now that it has happened to somebody of significance, and of course, this is not just kidnapping, this assassination. It's an assassination that had just taken place. Looking at all the aspects of what happened at the crime scene. So it's an assassination, and when people start to assassinate, if I can understand kidnapping, because they need money, but for people to start assassinating, then we are moving into a different chapter of the whole insecurity problem.
When I did ask if this is going to change something, don't forget when Chief Olufale was kidnapped.
Yes.
Then his farm, was raised. It was hue and cry as well.
Mm-hmm.
So many things were said by political leaders as well at the time. But now we have this. So could it be that this thing is festering because we're not attacking it headlong?
Yes, because we are not addressing the problems. We usually do symptoms, the vice president was there, and he said maybe they will put soldiers there, and
maybe,
because they've not sent them yet, but,
or is it because they've not decided, they've not spoken about, look, what strategy?
Well, when the press was interviewing him, he said that they're going to, they're thinking of deploying soldiers on the roads. But again, you see, we've gone back to the old style again, whereby the police itself, which is responsible for internal security, should be responsible, well trained. If they are not trained enough to handle things like this, train them and let them do their job. Allow the soldiers to go to the northeast and do their own job. But we bring soldiers there, then later you'll have some abuses on the road, and then of course these bandits or whoever they are still out there.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Amachree, that this whole insecurity issue is shape-shifting again?
Well, I think we are moving away because we have kidnapping, we have killings where they go into a village and raise it down. And then, of course, right now, we are now having a situation where important people are being picked and then killed. And this one is so clear that everybody is worried now, because you see all the political leaders are going there to, commiserate. But that is the new chapter that is opening.
Well, to what end, is this? Because you said the other time, you said we are not addressing the real problems.
Yes.
So what are the real problems you think we are setting aside?
The real problems, the symptoms, is what we are addressing right now. There is a serious insecurity problem in the country. And we have to understand that. One, there's a lot of the army of unemployed. A lot of poverty in the land. A lot of graduates who are coming out who don't have jobs. And these graduates have a very, very fertile mind of how to get quick money. And then, of course, the security problem whereby people cannot even just drive through from Lagos to Ore or something like that. The roads are becoming very dangerous. Do we address these problems first so that the environment will be safe for everybody?
Well, when you said that these issues and the concerns were not looking at the root causes, I'm wondering if we peculate this to the state level and how the state governors, let me be specific, the Taraba state governor, for instance, the Benue state governor, for instance, the Plateau state governor, for instance, the Nasarawa state governor. That's the middle belt. The middle belt. Have they performed in such a manner that will suggest to anyone who is watching that they are completely incapacitated? Or have they performed in a manner that will suggest as well that they are not really having that constitutional enablement, if you will, to cash in on these kinds of situations?
Okay.
The herdsmen especially, the herdsmen crisis.
Exactly. Now, so you can identify some of the problems that the governors are facing. Why don't you go ahead and pass a bill to create state police? The vice president mentioned it. Community policing, do it. Because we keep on, saying it without doing anything, and then the problem continues.
Yeah, it will require an amendment of the Constitution.
Let them go ahead and do it. They've done something since they came into power. If it's a point of national emergency, I expect that they are worried too. Some of them cannot, the legislators, some of them cannot go to their homes because the roads are dangerous. Sit down, use it as a national emergency and pass that bill so that people will start organizing themselves. These people are not spirits, and they are doing it because no consequences, no arrests, nothing is happening.
Exactly, which brings me to the question, because we have been talking about this whole insecurity challenge for quite a while now. It seems like no one has actually been dealt with to deter others.
Exactly.
Where is that coming from, and to what do we lay that?
I just pray that we're not playing politics with this.
You think there's a political undertone?
Oh yeah, there is political undertone. You can see what happened in Ondo State. When this lady was killed, the police came out and said that, oh, it was headsmen. Afenifere came out and said, oh, it's Fulani headsmen. And they are bandits. Police said they are bandits. They are not Fulani headsmen. So we're playing ethnic politics right there, in trying to identify the problem. We have to identify this problem positively as Nigerians, whoever the criminal is.
But those are just speculations. The police has not carried out its investigations
yet. Of course, they have not. And that is what I expect them to do, instead of coming to the press to tell who is who or what is what. Go in there, then, be on their tail. Arrest some of them, bring them out. It is from there that you can now come up with either these guys are just bandits, they are just kidnappers, or they are Fulani headsmen, or they are just headsmen, whichever, But that should be carried out after preliminary investigations. But you don't just jump to the press and say, oh, these people are this or that, I think that is a political undertone.
Do you think vigilante groups watching all of this rhetoric from these politicians will be convinced or swayed not to get into the bushes and defend the people themselves?
Well, the OPC have said that they are going to defend Yoruba land. And you see, that's where I'm worried about it, because immediately we start to sectionalize the country, and then Yorubas will come with their own, and then, of course, the Igbos will come up with their own, and then in the north we have all kinds of groups are coming out, I think this should not be allowed to be happening. The government itself should, stamp their feet down and control this. It is not a difficult
if they're
job.
not controlling it. But these things already exist in different ways.
Yes.
In different states.
Mm-hmm.
Different states have different security outfits or agencies in different uniforms, either controlling traffic or ensuring one or two things are done. But we seem to be running away from addressing the big issue itself, adjusting the security architecture in this country.
Yes, I think they should do that. I agree with you perfectly.
How will they do that?
Create state police. Create neighborhood watches.
But there are neighborhood watches in Lagos and a number of other places, just as Chamberlain mentioned.
And that's why Lagos is the safest place in Nigeria. You know that. It's the safest place in Nigeria. Because they have neighborhood watch. The state government are taking it upon themselves to even finance the police that is in Lagos State. So they are working for Lagos State government. And I think if you create state police, those people are going to do a lot of things. And neighborhood watches, so that they will be out there working,
Do you think we should change the Minister of Interior and the Minister for Defense?
That's the prerogative. That's the prerogative of the
No.
president.
I mean, you are an expert. You have seen the dynamics of how security concerns we face in this country, how they have emerged and how they've been dealt with.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Ministry of Interior will need a new head to be able to bring a new permutation into this situation?
If I was the minister,
if you were the minister,
I resign. You see, that's one thing we don't do here. That they are embarrassing the president. Now, of course, we have a new cabinet coming up, so he will decide what he wants, you know. But the point is that if you fail in handling certain issues under your portfolio, then you should quit.
Mr. Amachree, what you have said now points to one thing. There is, for want of a better word, failure of a system of security that we've been using for some time.
Yeah.
Now, if you as minister would resign, that should indicate that, okay, we have failed and then there is nothing.
Somebody better could come and take it
Now, what's
over.
the assurance that there is anyone better? These security challenges
in
have been, no, I'm just saying that these security challenges have been, you know, stepping up, so to speak.
Yes.
It's not just about one individual, it's about an entire system. That system is what the issue is. We don't seem, just as you said the other time, we haven't really been able to get to the root of the matter and deal with it from the root, because if we do not do that, we will continue, just as you said, to treat symptoms.
We have to do root cause analysis on this.
How long is it going to take us to do that, Mr.
I don't know. We have to start it first, you know. We have to start it. But I'm looking at a situation where, you see, there are too many. In fact, Nigeria is filled with all kinds of manpower and skills that we have. And you're talking between, you know, I'm not talking of the older guys because most of them are spent. You know, we're talking between 35 and 45 or even 50 who are very young, out from, you know, university, and then they have the skills required to do this.
Well, it's a slip of tongue. There are millions better, actually.
Millions better. Yes, I do. But, you know, there is something that Chamberlain said the other time, I think it deserves a little more attention. If we do not deal with this issue of security challenges holistically, we could be setting ourselves up for sectional interests, defending sectional interests.
I agree. And
which is why I asked, how long will it take to deal with this issue so that we do not fester sectional interests?
We have to start now. You know, any security incident that happens will definitely present a challenge. And that challenge to governance is to handle it right now. You know, the government in power should handle it right now. No lip services, talk with the legislature, and then get this thing out.
Help us understand this. Security agencies in this country.
Yes.
You know, people expect they're there to do a professional job. The SSS, is DSS at the moment now. I mean, they should have all these leads. That's what the people expect. So why does it come across as though this doesn't seem to be happening?
You see, somebody was telling me yesterday that if, as they kill this lady now, the police itself, if they mean business, they will get those people within a week or two.
Why don't they mean business most of the time?
Because, you know, sometimes they are politicized.
What about the DSS? What about the DSS? Don't they have a role in this?
Well, DSS will give you, it's an intelligence organization, and they will give you the intelligence. I can tell you, because most of these bandits or whoever running around, the SSS must have, you know, profiles on them, you know, and I hope they share it with the other security agents.
Isn't that what is required of them?
But that's what they were doing. But, you know, sometimes the intelligence agencies will want to hold back on certain intelligence. I'm just doing a scenario here, whereby if the intelligence I give to you is not protected very well and exposed, where also I have agents in Boko Haram, for instance, and I give you this information. If you don't protect that information very well, you endanger the agent we have in Boko Haram.
Does that happen? To what extent?
Well, we don't know. This is not in the public space. This is not in the public space.
I'm just wondering because in 2017, when the height of the herdsmen attacks in Benue State was at its peak, I had a discussion with the then House of Reps member, Okejev, who was Chairman House of Representatives, Committee on Rules and Business. And he made the suggestion to disarm the herdsmen. That didn't yield much fruit, as I reckon. But we are at such a point that we still have this proliferation of weapons across the sub-region and in Nigeria, the northern part especially. This is trickling down the south now. Should we revisit disarming the herdsmen?
First of all, you have to know them, catch them, know their leaders, talk with them, and then for them to come out and give you their arms. And usually sometimes you have to pay money for that. But I don't know whether they even identify these people or who their leaders are. I know that there are some people that have been captured or whatever. Some of them, and now they should give you some kind of insight. Some of them don't speak even Hausa. They don't speak English. They speak Fulfulde and French. What does that tell you? We are dealing with people from outside Nigeria. And if there are people inside this country illegally causing problems, I think we need to sit down and get at these people.
Let's wind down with this. Would it be a fair commentary to say that some of these politicians know what the truth is, but they're not telling Nigerians the truth?
Well, politicians will know a whole bunch of information, get intelligence report. It's not everything that they could tell, the public, because sometimes some information that you tell the public might not be good for the public itself. So, there are certain information you keep back, especially when it concerns security.
Because don't forget, when, several months ago, you were spot on when you said, what is going on in Zamfara? Mm-hmm. It was months after that eventually came out. Mm-hmm. So it means that people know what is going on in this country.
Definitely.
They know what steps should be taken to address it.
Yes.
But for some reason, we're not doing it.
Because there is an involvement of either. If you remember again, I have always advocated for an independence of the security agencies. So they have to obey the political leadership. And it depends on where we're going. And that's why I'm saying that now we have a situation where political leaders are coming and making statements. They should follow it up and make sure that we stamp this thing out.
All right, Mr. Dennis Amachree, former Assistant Director with the SSS. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much.